propose that we have a no right turn in red as in this agenda item. Can I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Done.
Mike, how long do you think it would take to get that sign done?
Process-wise, I do have a question on that. It's just something that needs to now go to the city council for approval before the sign is placed. If not, the sign can be ordered and installed pretty quickly. And I would, probably within 3 to 4 weeks. It really depends on how long it takes to get the sign.
That needs to go to the city council?
That's something.
That's a question.
That's a question.
I would hope it doesn't, because it's a relatively small item, but if it does, it does.
Yeah, that's something Ms. Lar will look into. If it needs to go to council, it will be on the October agenda. If not, with direction from this committee, we will order the sign and get it placed as soon as possible.
All right.
Yeah, make it a big sign, so you can see it from the room.
It'll be a standard, all these regulatory signs are standard size, so it'll be that size.
All right, next item on the agenda is 6.5, and this is one that's come up many times. Discussion and possible action to the Holbrook Lane traffic calming subdivision.
And I will excuse myself.
You have to recuse yourself.
Don't I?
I suppose so.
Well, you make Larry sit over
That's the
there.
rule. You have to sit there. We won't send you out.
You can sit here if you like.
So it's tough for me.
At the last Transportation Committee meeting on the Holbrook item, staff was directed to prepare a plan for chicanes and/or speed humps on Holbrook, including other streets, which we did take a look at. Staff went out, took measurements, and identified 4 potential locations for speed humps and chicanes. Then once we did that, we then put together a letter, sent it out to all the residents on Holbrook to survey the residents to see if that's something in fact they wanted done. We sent out 27 surveys, and the results of the surveys is in your packet. There's a spreadsheet in your packet. But I wanted to also say that since this was printed last week, we did receive 1 additional survey over the weekend. So I have a little bit of an update. Again, we sent out 27 surveys. We received 19 back. Of the 19 back we received, there was 6 residents in favor who supported the speed humps and chicanes. 2 said to do nothing. And then another option that we put on the survey was if there's some other measure. And out of the 19 returned surveys, 11 said that they don't want speed humps or chicanes, and that their preference would be either to close the street or to put a no right turn at Middlefield from I think 7 to 9 o'clock in the morning. So again, as we surveyed the residents, predominantly the response was we don't want speed humps and chicanes. What they prefer is a no right turn on Middlefield. So with that, we're here just to report that and to receive any further direction from the people.
We're just off back where we started, because I think everybody agrees a no right turn on Marsh Road would be great, but that's not our jurisdiction, so we...
No, it's Holbrook to Middlefield.
Yeah, what they're asking for is a no right turn at Holbrook and Middlefield, which is within the town of Atherton.
May I explain?
Go ahead.
So I'm a resident, obviously, of Holbrook. We had a volume of traffic issue and also a safety issue, and now we're kind of adding, I think, Atherton style street issue, which chicanes and bumps. I think many people feel that it would look like a more industrial road as opposed to a Atherton style road. Since Holbrook is straight and wide, adding these devices would probably make it look like, I'm thinking, a few major streets in Palo Alto that have these devices. Channing, for example, is one between Middlefield and all the way to Bayshore almost. So to control the volume of the traffic in the morning, the ideal thing is the countryside, right, no right turn on Fairwood, but maybe something we should try is to have this no right turn on Holbrook and Middlefield, because 95% of the traffic we observe makes a right turn. They're just going to Redwood City for work, and they should be using Marsh. So that's something I feel, I'm one of the guys who feel that, something maybe we should try with a sign that doesn't cost much, and see how things.
But wouldn't we need to do it in the other streets as well, in Palmer? And if we did it that way, we really should do it, because the people in, say, Palmer will complain that you can make a right turn off Palmer into Middlefield, and therefore we're just gonna send the traffic up there. So
If
we're gonna,
if in fact the traffic shifts that way, it's something simple to do, yes.
I mean, my own feeling would be, if we're gonna put a no right turn there, we put it in all these three streets.
Which also means I can't make a right turn in the morning in that at that intersection. However, to us, the volume of the traffic is more important than, that particular.
So would you agree then that if we do it on one, we should do it on all of them?
I can't speak for the other streets,
No, I
but
know,
yeah,
but-
clearly,
Well, I
it
mean-
probably help.
What restrictions do we have on that, Mike?
Excuse me?
Can we do that, Mike?
One of the questions, well, I'm not sure, if the town were just to put a no right turn at Holbrook only, the city attorney does not believe an environmental document would be required. If the town were to place no right turns at Holbrook, Palmer, and San Benito, then that's something that the town may need to do. Because effectively what it's going to be doing is, it's almost, but not as much, as it almost serves the same purpose as a no right turn at Marsh on the Fair Oaks. It's not as restrictive, but basically it's going to require all the cars to continue out beyond Atherton before they can, basically turn left on a street that, I'm not sure if that would be Redwood City or where that would be in Kennedy County.
So you're saying we could put one no right turn sign on Holbrook? But suppose we put one no right turn sign on Holbrook soon, and then 6 months from now we put one no right turn sign on the next street, which is Palmer, I guess. Does that still get us into the same situation as far as EIRs go?
My guess is probably not, but I think that, because really at this point, the only action you're taking is putting a no right turn at Holbrook. In the future, if you were to consider to do the same at Palmer, that would be a question I'd want to pose to the city attorney because of the cumulative impact that might have. But if the committee were interested in doing something like that, what I would recommend is that staff, we have the opportunity to go out and take a look at the entire area, identify key areas that we should take traffic counts for, and actually take traffic counts prior to the placement of the signs. And these traffic counts aren't going to take very long, but so that we have data of traffic before and then after placement of the signs, traffic after. Because one of the things that, chicanes and undulations, they're effective traffic control, traffic calming devices, but only for speed control. They'll have some diversionary impacts, but it's really for speed control. By placing a no right turn with a limitation from 7 to 9 in the morning, that's going to divert traffic.
That's the purpose.
That what exactly is, so we need to find out where the traffic is going, so that in 6 months, if either Palmer or San Benito, come in and say, we want the same thing, we would at least have some data that we can provide.
I mean, I just know that the minute we put that no right turn sign on Holbrook, people in Palmer are gonna be up arms saying, now you've shifted all the traffic to our streets.
Yeah, due to the shape of those streets, though, I think the odds of traffic shifting that way would be, I think, quite less, and this is my opinion.
I've made that argument, but they disagree with me. Anyway, what did the rest of the committee feel?
Well, I think we have to do something for Holbrook, we have to do something for that whole area. And I would think that doing this, I was interested in what Mike said, because I always thought speed bumps and chicanes were quite good. And he pointed out that it does, control the speed, but maybe not, the amount of traffic. Did I get you right, Mike?
That's correct.
So I think this is a good idea to try this and see if it works.
Larry?
I guess my question is, how, sort of the day one when you put this up, what happens? Because there are all those people flooding down Holbrook who suddenly
Yeah.
can't turn.
Well, we make a lot of money on tickets.
Right, unfortunately.
But do you put some sign upstream?
There's already a sign that's posted at the 17th Holbrook corridor that states no through traffic at 7 to 9 a.m.
Yeah,
That's
but
that's advanced warning. that you're
everyone
referring
knows
to.
that's
Everybody
bogus, you know,
knows that.
'cause
But that's the advanced warning that you're referring to.
It will
Yeah,
take
but-
2-3 days for people to learn.
I'm sure there are people who take the Holbrook route every day, and, they're gonna really be surprised when suddenly, and I know when Palo Alto did this on all the streets on Middlefield,
Yeah.
that were, cutting up to Alma, and, I know a lot of people got tickets.
Well, that's the purpose, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be enforceable, so we can.
Well, I agree, but possibly have a trial period with it.
Mhm.
Sure.
It'll tell us a lot, I think,
I have a question. I'm David Fleck, I'm at 37 Holbrook Lane. Last meeting that we attended here, there was a lot of discussion about variables such as whether street closure was legal or not. And it was my understanding we're going to get some follow-up to understand whether or not the ruling or the discussion at that time to not do a street closure because of legal issues was valid or not. One of the residents on Palmer stood up and said that they were involved in discussions in the early 90s and had data that would refute what Atherton brought to the table at that time. So has there been any further investigations to reconcile the two opinions?
Our city attorney, whose advice unfortunately, or fortunately we have to take, says that if this came to court, we would lose. And, he says that he has several instances where this has happened before, where we prevent traffic going from one jurisdiction to the other. And he said it's very, very likely this would be considered illegal. And, I know that your attorney that lives up there disagrees with him. They've had discussions. But, as a council, we really have to take the advice of our city attorney.
So are you now taking the official position that the legal advice that was covered by the person from Palmer is not going to be accounted for in this discussion?
No, I'm just saying that after discussions with your, what's her name again, Barbara?
Yeah.
After discussions with Barbara, our counsel, our attorney has said he has not changed his mind.
All right. But
So-
then that is the position of the city at this point?
Well, in general, unless there's some really good reason for not taking that position, we would follow the advice of our city attorney. I mean, the council could override that if they want. I think it's highly unlikely that they will.
Sure. But that's really what I'm leading to, is that are you then?
Yeah, I think it's highly unlikely that the council would override our city attorney, and a new city attorney at the moment is very well thought of. He seems to do his homework.
Right.
So I would have to say that he didn't actually say in the code that it's illegal, but he said almost certainly that if anybody complained about it and took it to court, we'd lose.
All right. Look, that contradicts Barbara's opinion,
I know.
and she has documentation.
No,
that
I've
suggests
talked
it's
to Barbara.
opposite. Second thing is on the chicanes and speed humps, I concur that I believe that we'd succeed in slowing traffic down, and certainly that would be a welcome outcome. I don't believe the aesthetics are something that are in line with what most streets within Atherton should have to endure. However, based on safety issues and other problems we're having, it probably makes sense to be heading in that direction. However, I do believe that the right-hand turn, the no right-hand turn sign is a quick and immediate way we can measure results for very little cost. And I suspect we could probably convince our traffic groups to have the sign erected in a very short amount of time. Whereas chicanes and speed humps are something that I think needs a little more effort and certainly a lot more cost. It may even be something that we could revisit and decide most of the problem solved before we even go further into spending money on this additional measure.
Thank you.
Can we ask the police department what the enforcement
Go ahead.
thing would, what would the enforcement be like when it was first put in? How, I mean, is there room there to pull people over? And you're going to have huge lines of people waiting to get tickets.
Well, as long as we knew what day it was going to be installed, we could have a motor officer or a couple officers out there. But we would have to know in advance what day it was installed, or what day it was going to be installed anyways.
So when they see the sign, the only option would be turn left, which would be also.
Which is clogged, I mean, that direction southbound, on Middlefield in the morning is just bumper to bumper.
Right.
You
Well,
can't
I
make
wanted-
it left.
I wanted to ask also, what impact will this have on the residents? When they want to go out, will they go out the other way?
Well, that's an option that we could do if we had to, but most of the concern is eliminating traffic, and I believe that's what we're willing to put up with, is a no right turn. The inconvenience of that is a minor part of the problem that we're dealing with.
Tony, do you have any comments on
Well, I was going to comment earlier. You mentioned if the sign is put up and the policeman was out there to enforce it, then he would write a ticket, and people would come and they would see the policeman writing a ticket, and they would turn left, and then there'd be 1 or 2 days of kind of massive traffic jam until people said, oh, okay, better not do that anymore because they're writing tickets. So I think it would be pretty unpleasant for a short period, but hopefully it would reduce it. And we're,
that? Any other comments? Does this need to go to the council, Mike?
That's something I need to check also.
Okay. Well, I guess the recommendation here is that, from what I'm hearing, is that we consider putting a no right turn sign on Holbrook and Middlefield. And after it's up, we have also a traffic count on traffic going up to the other streets. Is that more or less what we're saying?
Yes, what staff would recommend is that prior to the sign going up, we will develop a very comprehensive count program, get the counts, and then it would be good if you would direct us to come back in 4 months and take some after counts and report back to this committee the impact of.
I'm going based on memory here, and since this has been going on for so long, but I thought Duncan had already done significant traffic counts on both Holbrook, Palmer, and San Benito. I believe all that data is already ready and available.
Yeah, I heard there's some counts also. What I need to do is actually take a look at them, and again, want to make sure that they were taken at the right spots, because what the whole purpose of the counts is to identify, the diversionary effect of the sign. So I want to make sure that we have counts at the right locations.
I'm just trying to make sure we don't duplicate effort and costs involved in counting traffic if the data's already there. There's a lot of wastage in government, and I'm trying to minimize that without having to go back and do it. There's been a change of management with you and Duncan. Please make sure you investigate the data that already exists.
But I have also seen data that says the last time we tried this, that there was a substantial diversion of traffic.
I'm just talking about the counts. I'm not talking about the end result.
The pre-sign counts.
I'm talking about the pre-counts. I believe that data is already available. Also, is it published? Are you guys going to publish the survey data? Is it available publicly right now?
The what?
The survey data for Holbrook?
I don't see any reason why not. Should be.
Yeah, and it's included in the agenda packet for tonight. We just need to make one update, because since that was done last week, we received one additional survey.
And that will be up on the website or not?
Yeah, we can post it on the website. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Just one last comment. I'm not sure when the last survey data was taken that you referred to, but boy, the traffic has really changed since school started. It is really different. I mean, it takes 4 or 5 light cycles to get through the Marsh light down Marsh Road at that time of the morning. So probably a new traffic count is really appropriate. In fact, I was wondering if there's something wrong with the light cycle. It's like, it's not right, so.
Okay, well, in view of the comments, I will ask that we also now have a motion to approve or that we, as a committee, recommends that we trial a no right turn sign on Holbrook, and that we try it for 4 months, at the end of which time we have a traffic count. Is that more or less summarized?
7:30 to 8:30.
7:30 to 8:30.
I think it was 7 till 9.
7 to 9.
7 to 9.
7 to 9, that's
Should
fine.
be the same as the other side.
Okay, can I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you got all that down? Good. Okay, next item on the agenda is our police report.
So we'll do the July report first. For the month of July, we received no traffic complaints. We had 8 DUI arrests for the month of July, and none of these arrests were from traffic collisions. No truck stop details were performed. Our traffic officer worked 164 out of 170 scheduled hours. We had 14 collisions, 7 involved injuries, and 2 were hit and runs. For July 2011, we made contact with 463 drivers. For the same period last year in 2010, we made contact with 346 drivers. Moving on to August, we had 3 traffic complaints during the month of August. The complaints are listed on the form, as well as the results and the total time spent on each complaint. We had 6 DUI arrests for the month of August. No truck stop details. Our traffic officer worked 210.5 hours out of 180 scheduled hours. We had 17 collisions, 7 involved injuries, 2 were hit and runs, and 1 was a DUI. For August of 2011, we made contact with 436 drivers compared to 504 for August of 2010.
So the data I have here is July. Do we have August data?
Yeah.
Follow.
Month?
It's here.
It follows.
Follow.
Okay.
Can I ask some questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sergeant, I'd like to commend the officers. I was looking here at the speed violations, citations that were issued July of 2010 were only 17. In July of 2011, there were 62, which shows quite a bit of effort. In August of 2011, there was 43 again. And in August of 2010, it was only 25. It's quite an increase in the speeding citations with what the group here have asked for in the past. But I noticed like other moving violations, you break down the unlicensed, insurance, suspended driver, and so on and so forth. But in the other movings, what do they normally, what type are they usually? Following too close, right-of-ways?
Other moving could be right-of-way violations, it could be following too close, it could be red light violations, it could be cell phones, it could be seat belts, child car seats.
They don't break those down though?
No, we don't.
But which is the majority of the other, do you know?
You know, without looking at all the citations, I really couldn't answer that.
The majority, if I could, the majority of the others, right, usually in a close second behind by the excessive speeds are gonna be the stop sign violations.
Stop sign too. Following too close, they do many of those as well?
They're in there, there's a handful of those in there, but it's predominantly speed followed in a relatively close second by stop sign.
As I said, they've done a great job in the speed side.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see the number of speeding tickets go up the way it has been in both July and August. I think we've really raised that bar, and hopefully, you know, that will slow everything down. Atherton will no longer be considered at the time you can go through any speed you like. And just congratulate the police department on making some good progress. We've talked about this for a long time. Now we're beginning to see some results.
Thank you.
Any, let's see, what's the next item? What is the next item?
Public works.
Yeah. So the next item is Public Works. I noticed that we've got the bid out on the Valparaiso, Mike. I saw it in the Almanac today.
Yes.
And then Glenwood and Laurel speed limit signs pending. Any comment on that?
Yeah, the comment is that, I was told that does need to go to council, so that will be on your September council agenda.
Okay.
And then once approved, we'll get those signs placed.
Okay. Any other business? Well, having no other business, I'm just setting the next date for our next meeting. So, it says November the 8th, is that
Okay.
agreeable to everybody? That happens to be election day.
Yes.
I don't know whether that's a good day or not.
That might be a problem since they do the elections in here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I think maybe we shouldn't have it on election day.
good point.
Could we have it the next day? That would be the 9th.
Wednesday, yeah, that's all right.
Wednesday the 9th. But everybody,
That's okay.
do I hear a yes, if that's okay for everybody?
Consolidated meeting.
I think you got a child going somewhere. No, but I do have a conflict. But it's not confirmed yet. It's a potential
Okay, I
conflict.
put that down. June?
That's fine.
All right, all right, so that's 6 o'clock on Wednesday. Okay, well, thank everybody, I thank everybody for coming, and I'm really pleased about the progress in the speeding tickets. Mike, you will get back to us on whether council approval is needed on some of those items we discussed.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, these,
Now here's the
pictures.
We usually leave these folders here, but
I need a motion to adjourn.
I make an offer, we should.
Favor?
Yes.
We're out there working.
Just a mess with that.